Hello, welcome to Cat in Japan. Thank you for clicking on this video. I appreciate it. Thank you. In my previous video, I talked about the top 10 things that I felt that Japan does right by moms. In this video, I want to talk about what Japan does wrong. Now, it's not going to be a top 10 list, and it's going to be fairly short because there's really only one thing Japan does wrong by moms, and it's such a huge thing that it kind of trickles down and causes all these other little problems. But basically, the root cause is the one thing that really makes moms' lives here really difficult, and that is Japan is a patriarchal society, and there are distinct gender roles. Men work, women stay home, take care of kids, clean house, cook dinner. Now, over the past 19 years I've been here, there's been a lot of changes, and I've been seeing changes, but it's very slow, like very slow. Any change in Japan takes a long time. Case in point, their special education here is about 30 years behind America. Like big time. The gender roles here, they're starting to change, they're starting to blur. They're getting a decent size LGBTQ plus community here, but it's just very slow. So, what's it like living in a patriarchal society? Well, it can be difficult and it can be challenging. Although it's changing, it still has its big challenges. The biggest problem here for women is job opportunities. Most companies will not hire young women because of the maternity benefits. And if they do hire young women, they won't give them the opportunity to be promoted into higher level positions because of the maternity benefits. That is why Japan has a very low birth rate, and that's why the government is providing all these great maternity benefits to try to encourage women to have babies. Now, don't read into anything into this. I'm not saying women should have babies or anything like that. I feel there should be a good balance. If you want to have a family and have a good job, you should be able to get both. But that is very hard to get here because of the maternity benefits and because of the patriarchal way of thinking. Now, most companies, they see young women, they're going to say, oh, you're going to get married and you're going to have a baby. So you can work in our office, but you can't work past the office, and that's all you can do because of the maternity benefits. Companies don't want to pay it. Also, they don't want their employees taking a year off of work because then they have to hire somebody as replacement and train that person. They just don't want to do that. Also, if they do hire young women, they're not going to give them any kind of promotion, or it's going to be very difficult for women to get promoted because of having children. So a lot of women are choosing not to have babies. There are a lot of women here that just refuse to have children because they want to have a good career. And it should not be a sacrifice here. It shouldn't. A woman should be able to have both. Now, it happened to me. My husband's company sent us to Tokyo for a couple of years, and I found myself without a job. So I started looking for a job. At the same time, I found out that I was pregnant. And I wanted to be very transparent with these companies I was interviewing with because I didn't want like 6 months down the road and they're like, wait a minute, you're pregnant? You didn't tell us you were pregnant. And you're going to have time off. We're going to have to hire somebody. So I wanted to be very transparent with them. And in the interview, I would tell them that I'm pregnant, but I can still do my job. I can still work up to whatever you need me to work up to. Not one company would hire me. And it has nothing to do with my skills. It had to do with the fact that I was pregnant. My husband was like, well, why did you tell him you were pregnant? Well, like I said, I didn't want like 6 months down the road and they're like, wait a minute, you're pregnant? You lied to us. You didn't tell us you were pregnant. And I just didn't want that to happen. So I kind of shot myself in the foot, basically. And that's basically true for a lot of women here. So Japan's birth rate is going down because of this. Where the government is trying to help women is actually kind of hurting them. But it's also the view of the men, of course. It is changing, but it's still there. I'm not sure if you've seen this video, but there was a female politician who happened to take her child to one of her sessions, and all the male politicians were standing around her screaming and yelling at her, tell her, how dare you bring your baby to work, that sort of thing. So that's what women have to kind of put up with here, and it's very difficult. It's changing, but it's difficult. And it's also hard to hold a job because schools and stuff see the mom as the main caregiver. So if a child is sick or there's a school holiday and the kids are off or there's a field trip and there needs to be chaperone, it's always the mom that has to take off from work, pretty much. A lot of Japanese homes have 3 generations living in them, but not all of them. So sometimes if a child is sick, the grandparent can usually take care of them. Not everybody has that opportunity, so it's usually the mom. So that's the same in my situation as well. Every time my kids are sick, first thing they do is they call me. They don't call my husband, they call me and tell me to come and get the kids if they're sick. Not only that, if there's an issue at school or there's something they need to discuss with us about the kids, they automatically call me first in the afternoon. And I've told them like 1,000 times, I work from 3 to 8 and I cannot answer the phone because I'm a small private English school and I'm usually face to face with a student at that time. And I've told them, if you have a problem or if there is an issue, please call my husband after 3 o'clock. They don't listen. Every time there's an issue, they call me. And the first thing they ask me after they say who they are is it okay we can talk right now? And I'm like, every single time, I keep telling you, no, I cannot talk to you after 3 o'clock. Please call my husband. They just don't get it. And this is true for a lot of women. They just don't have the opportunity to get a good job. And if they do get a good job, a lot of the times they have trouble keeping it because they're the ones that have to take care of sick kids. Now, I have been seeing a lot of changes in the last 19 years here. And again, it's slow process. It's a very slow process. It's having to change the mentality of the population, and it just takes time. For example, in junior high school and high school, they have to wear a uniform. Boys wear pants, girls wear skirts. My oldest, who is non-binary, did not want to wear a skirt when they had to start junior high school. And I wasn't sure how I can get that changed. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Something was looking over us because at that same time, I don't know the exact details, but a group of girls challenged their school and said, look, we should be able to wear pants as well. And so the educational system decided, okay, girls can wear pants if they want to. So my oldest decided to wear pants. Now, again, this is an example of the mentality. When we went to buy them their uniform, the sales lady was trying so hard to talk my oldest out of buying pants. She kept saying, you'll be the only one in pants. You'll be standing out. You won't be like the other girls. And my oldest stood their ground and said, no, I'm getting pants. And I asked some of my students who were going into junior high school, I said, are you going to get a skirt or are you going to get pants? And most of them said, I'm going to get pants. And I'm like, good for you. Then I see them and they're wearing a skirt. And I ask them, what happened? I thought you were getting pants. My mom made me get a skirt. So it's changing the mentality of the population, which is taking a very long time. And it's hurting women of Japan by having this kind of mentality. You may ask, well, how is it in your household? Well, my husband lived in the United States for 8 years, so he's kind of bicultural, and he does not have that gender role mentality as most Japanese men have. The first 5 years of our marriage, I was the breadwinner and my husband was a stay-at-home dad. He stayed home, he took care of the baby, took care of the house, took care of the cooking. Actually, he still takes care of the cooking. I hate cooking. I just loathe cooking. I'm really good at it. I just don't like it. My husband loves cooking. He's a big foodie. Even though he works all day, he comes home and he cooks. And he does that mostly because I work between 3 and 8, and he knows it's difficult for me to feed the children between that time because I'm working. It's a great arrangement, and he does other things as well. He goes out with the kids, and he doesn't call it babysitting. He loves doing any kind of activity with the children. He'll take them to the mall, shop. He loves it. And he also helps keep the house clean. He does the laundry. He does the dishes. There's no really gender roles in our household, but that's not the rest of the country. I have about 40 students, and I think I know maybe 3 of the dads. I know all the moms. I know the moms' names. I know their phone numbers. I know what kind of car they drive. I know what their jobs are. I know everything about my students' moms. I have absolutely no idea about the dads. Basically, Japan does a lot right by moms, but the one thing that Japan does wrong really, really hurts moms here. For job opportunities, for promotion, just being recognized recognize more than just a mom in Japan. It can be very difficult here. It doesn't affect me as much as it does, of course, the Japanese women because I'm a foreigner, but it still has affected me job-wise. My hope for the near future is things get better for women because I have 2 children. One is female, one is non-binary, but the Japanese will see them as a female as well. And I want them to have better opportunities than most women have now. Please comment down below what you want to know more about Japan, especially from a mother's view. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.